Today's topic is social obstetrics. So, what do we mean by social obstetrics? We have to deal with certain data regarding, say, maternal mortality, maternal morbidity, perinatal morbidity, perinatal mortality, stillbirth, abortion. What are these? How are they explained? What is the current data in our country now? And what is the impact? How can we improve upon it? This will be the basis of discussion today. Crude birth rate indicates the number of live births occurring during the year per 1,000 population estimated at mid-year. So, total number of people staying at a place per 1,000 of that population and the number of live births happening in that mid-year estimation is made, not at the beginning of the year nor at the end. It is at mid-year estimation of per 1,000 population, number of live births happening. That is called crude birth rate. This is around 16.55. There has been a decline of birth rate, crude birth rate, from what it was in 2020-23. It was 6.75 and in 24-25 it is 16.55. So, there has been a decline up to 1.19%. What you have to grossly remember, what is the number of live births per 1,000 population at the mid-year estimation. So, it is around 16, say. The report titled Trends in Maternal Mortality 2020-23 was prepared by the World Health Organization, UNICEF, UN Population Fund, World Bank and the UN Department of Economics and Social Affairs. This was the report titled Trends in Maternal Mortality. We will explain what is maternal mortality. It provides global data on maternal mortality and highlights the countries with the highest rate of maternal deaths. You will be surprised to know, see, Nigeria has the highest number of maternal deaths, which is around, say, 75,000, accounting for almost, say, a quarter of the global deaths in 2023. Top 4 countries are Nigeria, India, Democratic Republic of Congo, Pakistan, accounting for almost, say, 47% of the total global deaths. Despite a population similar to India, China has a population similar to India. Is supposed to be the most populated country. I think you know about that. What is the population right now? It's around 1.46 billion. So, China is close second. China is second now. But still it has a maternal death much lower than what we have. It is around 1400. Maternal mortality globally declined by 40% between 2000 to 2023 due to improved healthcare access. COVID-19 caused an additional 40,000 maternal deaths in 2021 due to service disruptions. People didn't have access to healthcare. That is why our mothers could not survive. The global MMR, that is maternal mortality rate, remained high with 260,000 deaths in 2023, 1 death every 2 minutes. So, this is something to think about. 1 death in 2 minutes. By the time we finish this lecture, say 60 minutes, 30 mothers we have lost. Imagine the gravity of the situation. We can improve upon it. So, in 2023, India had the second highest maternal deaths globally with 19,000 deaths, tied with Democratic Republic of Congo, second only to Nigeria. Both had almost 19,000. Nigeria had 75 to 76,000. India and DRC, in short, Democratic Republic of Congo had 19,000 and Pakistan 11,000. So, we don't fare a very good picture, but we are trying and we have improved a lot. So, a woman dies of pregnancy related causes every 2 minutes. Now, what is maternal mortality? you will be asked to define maternal mortality. This is a death of a woman while pregnant or within 42 days of termination of pregnancy, irrespective of the duration of pregnancy and site of pregnancy, from any cause related to or aggravated by pregnancy or its management, but not due to accidental or incidental causes. Do you understand the meaning of it? A mother dies during pregnancy, say at 8 weeks a mother dies due to, say, abortion. You know what is abortion? Any idea? So there is a miscarriage or deliberate termination of pregnancy. That is a medical abortion or a spontaneous abortion. That is a miscarriage. Nature has aborted it. Whatever be the reason, a mother dying during the period of pregnancy, irrespective of site and duration. So what does it mean? Any trimester. We divide pregnancy into 3 trimesters. First 12 weeks, then 12 to 28 weeks, that is the second trimester, last trimester being beyond 28 weeks till confinement, till delivery. I hope you are understanding what I am saying. Okay. So any loss of a mother's life during this tenure, it is irrespective of the duration of pregnancy. Why site? It can be a, you know what is ectopic pregnancy? Any idea? One of you can get up and tell me what is ectopic pregnancy? Whoever has any idea, just get up and say. Not at its usual site. Okay, that is why it is ectopic. Usually in the tubes, tubal pregnancy. Take a seat. So that is an ectopic pregnancy. Ectopic pregnancy is a very risky phenomena. The tube can rupture, there can be hemoperitoneum, patient can die. So irrespective of the site of pregnancy, that is normal site or abnormal site. Site means the place where the pregnancy is happening. So you have to know the definition absolutely. So it is death of a woman while pregnant, during pregnancy, irrespective of site and duration, or within 42 days of termination, that is 6 weeks after delivery also. In the postpartum period, that is also included. Due to any cause associated or aggravated, related to or aggravated, that means the pregnancy has caused more difficulty in this situation which has caused the death. But it can also occur due to its management. We had tried to manage, but it was somewhat not proper. That also can cause death, but not due to accident or incidental causes. Suppose a pregnant lady is crossing the road and she meets with an accident. That is not maternal death, because it is not related to pregnancy, nor is it aggravated by pregnancy. Okay, so this is accidental or incidental. She is a, say, victim of domestic violence. That is not maternal death, that is something different. Okay, so not accidental or incidental causes, but any cause due to pregnancy or aggravated by pregnancy, during pregnancy, irrespective of site and duration, and within 40 or within 42 days, that is 6 weeks postpartum. Is it clear? Please don't miss out any one of these points. This is a very important definition of maternal mortality. Now, what is maternal mortality ratio? It is the maternal deaths and the denominator is the live births, 1 lakh live births. So it is a ratio. Numerator is to denominator, that is why it is a ratio. You must be remembering your maths class. Ratio is a comparison between two, numerator and the denominator. So this is the maternal deaths is to number of 1 lakh per lakh live births. And maternal mortality rate is deaths per lakh women of reproductive age. Usually we take it as say 15 to 45. That is the reproductive age of the woman. Are you getting the momentum of what I am trying to say? Now, what is maternal mortality rate? It is calculated as the number of deaths in a given period per lakh women of reproductive age groups, say 15 to 49, say 45 to 49, before 50, before she reaches menopause, and measures both obstetric risk and frequency with which women are exposed to this risk. Now, this is the pie chart showing the causes of maternal deaths for the complications. So, these are the causes which can cause maternal death. What is this? Hemorrhage. She loses blood. There can be antepartum hemorrhage. There can be postpartum hemorrhage. Eclampsia. You know what is eclampsia? Any idea about eclampsia? Eclampsia is severe convulsion. Epilepsy fits. Patient goes into fits. This is due to severe hypertension that occurs. We will come to each one of these by the classes we take. But these are the high risk factors which can cause maternal death. Obstructed labor. That means she had a difficult labor and she had expired. Sepsis. Sepsis means infection, severe infection. Anemia. Till now, mothers die due to anemia. What is anemia? Everyone knows what is anemia? What is anemia? Real. So, it is less than the RBC or hemoglobin, circulating hemoglobin is less than normal with respect to age, the sex and altitude. Okay, so women are usually anemic because in the reproductive phase there is a blood loss. Periodical there is blood loss, so that is a cause of anemia. So, if an adolescent girl is going into pregnancy with an anemic state, she will lose further blood during delivery. So, this person can have increased risk of maternal morbidity or at sometimes mortality. Morbidity means severe disease and mortality is death. Indirect causes, suppose she is suffering from some infection that has aggravated during pregnancy. So, that is also a very important cause of death, not direct but indirect cause. So, these are the direct cause are due to obstetric complications which are say hemorrhage, APH, PPH, ectopic pregnancy, abortion. It accounts to about 25%, pre-eclampsia, eclampsia about 12%, unsafe abortion. Did you attend a class on abortion, MTP? So, we had discussed what is unsafe abortion and what is medical termination of pregnancy, legal abortions. So, unsafe abortion is also very critical for the mother. Sepsis and obstructed labor. Try to remember. So, this is due to obstetric complications of different events of pregnancy, its treatments or results of treatments. Okay. The indirect causes are due to deaths resulting from pre-existing. She was anemic from before. Now there is further blood loss. So, this is a pre-existing cause like anemia, say viral hepatitis, heart disease, diabetes, malaria, HIV infection, tuberculosis, very common till now. So, this can be aggravated during pregnancy although they were present from before, and pregnancy itself sometimes cause an aggravation of these conditions. In pregnancy there is an increased demand of the body, the blood volume increases. So, if you do not compensate adequately, patient may suffer from several things that is due to the physiology of pregnancy. Now, she has to offer her nutrition to the fetus and the growing placenta, the amniotic fluid, the blood volume. So the body is demanding more. If she is pre-existingly, she has some disease, this will be further aggravated. So it will be worse in pregnancy. The social factors say, age at childbirth, this is very important. If a teenage pregnancy is there, so she is still growing up. She has the demands of an adolescent child. On top of that, you put in a pregnancy. So there is a double demand. So this can cause maternal morbidity. Parity, she is becoming pregnant too frequently, 1 to 2 years after she is getting pregnant. She is becoming multiparous. The body doesn't have the time to recover in between pregnancies. So this is another cause. These are all social factors. You must have attended your community medicine classes. So marriage is an universal thing in Indian culture. Everyone has to get married and everyone has to have children. And this doesn't fall under any law or regulation. Okay, so parity is important. Parity is the number of children that she is bearing. Malnutrition, lack of spacing, poverty, illiteracy, poor sanitation, poor communication and referral services. Suppose she is a pregnant lady in a very remote village. When she is going into labor, there is no one to bring her to the healthcare facility. She is bleeding, she dies there. So transport, communication, these are the factors which can cause maternal morbidity and mortality. Try to put yourself in her position. You will understand what a crisis she is undergoing. Shortage of health manpower, poor obstetric service with the lack of adequate, we need service during the antenatal period, during intranatal, that is during labor, and postnatal, after delivery. That is also important. So incidental causes, in fact, these causes are not included in maternal, but deaths occurring during pregnancy like accidents, suicide, etc. difficult to differentiate. Sometimes, someone has forced her to go there and she has slipped and fallen. So these are also social, but absolutely not direct causes. So indirect causes, sometimes they also add on to the crime that we are committing. If we can't save her, we are committing a crime. Now, what is maternal morbidity? It is estimated that 810 women died every day in 2017 due to complications of pregnancy and childbirth. Maternal deaths are just the tip of an iceberg. You know what is iceberg? Iceberg, tip of iceberg means that is the tip that has been exposed on the surface of the sea. The whole iceberg is below. So when the one mother dies, that means the rest of the iceberg is below. That means these patients had suffered from some disease. Disease means morbidity, but they didn't die. Death was one, but several others suffered. No one noted those patients who had suffered but survived. That is maternal morbidity. So the true extent of maternal morbidity is unknown, but it has been suggested that for each maternal death, 20 to 30 women suffer from maternal morbidity. Who has defined morbidity as health condition attributed to or complicated pregnancy and childbirth that has a negative impact on women's well-being or function? It's the same definition, but here it is having a negative impact on the health of the individual, but the patient has not died. Patient suffered. The suffering is expressed as a health condition that is contributed by pregnancy or childbirth, and it is having a negative impact on our health and well-being. Obstetric morbidity originates from any cause related to pregnancy or its management during the three phases: antepartum, intrapartum, postpartum, and within 42 days of delivery. So, how will you identify? Suppose the patient is running a fever, 100.4 degree for more than 24 hours. She is not well. Pressure is high, 140/90. Recurrent vaginal bleeding. Hemoglobin is low, less than 10.5. and asymptomatic bacteria. She is having recurrent urinary tract infection. All these are coming under the banner of maternal or obstetric morbidity. Now, what is maternal near miss? This term, try to understand a woman who nearly died but survived a complication that occurred once again during pregnancy or childbirth or within 42 days of termination of pregnancy. She survived either by chance or due to some intervention, but she was about to die. We learn a lot of things from these patients because the patient is alive. She is there to tell you the story, how she had suffered and how she has been rescued. That could be by chance, someone had come at that moment and saved her, or she had got access to the healthcare at the right time. So this definition is also important. Maternal near miss, we say MNM, maternal near miss. The common causes are eclampsia, renal failure, DIC, obstetric shock. So this is maternal near miss incidence ratio, refers to the number of maternal near miss cases per 1,000 live births. 1,000 babies have been delivered and we get, say, one mother who survived this critical condition, and she will give you her story so that we can rescue some other mothers also. We don't do, say, mistakes intentionally, but things happen. But if the patient is alive, we can get to know from her what exactly happened and how she was rescued. Now, these are the criteria, so clinical criteria, laboratory criteria and management criteria, classifying when you will say the patient had a maternal near miss conditions. So, it is easy to remember. See, you start from all the systems. Patient is conscious or unconscious. She is having cyanosis, she is having respiratory problem, gasping, respiratory rate is high or very low, she is having shock, or there is stroke, she has gone into coma, or there is paralysis, or there is oliguria, less of urine output, jaundice, or clotting failure, that is DIC, that is she is having bleeding due to disseminated intravascular coagulation. So this is clinical criteria, and we have laboratory criteria. Oxygen saturation has fallen, there is thrombocytopenia, platelet count has fallen, that is why she is bleeding. Creatine level has gone up, bilirubin has gone up, loss of consciousness and presence of glucose and keto acids in urine. So her kidney is not functioning. If you think of all the systems, so neurological system, cardiovascular system, respiratory system, all the systems are not cooperating with her. So these are the criteria, and management criteria. We sometimes use vasoactive drugs. Suppose the blood pressure is falling, we use drugs to elevate the blood. These are called vasoactive drugs. Noradrenaline, we can be using this. So if you use this, this comes under the management criteria for the maternal near miss cases. We have somehow rescued with these drugs, or we have intubated her. She is unconscious, so we have taken care of her respiratory tract respiration by putting in a intubation is done, ventilation is controlled. That is, patient has become unconscious. So you have to control the ventilation. Hysterectomy has been done. The uterus was in such a condition we could not keep it. We had to do hysterectomy. That is, we have removed the uterus. Or we have given blood, say 5 units of blood. Patient had gone for dialysis. The kidney has failed. There is renal failure or cardiopulmonary resuscitation. We had to give CPR. So these are the criteria which will, so Government of India has developed comprehensive criteria for identification of maternal near miss cases, where there should be 3 criteria, 1 from each criteria, that is clinical, you go back to this, clinical, laboratory or management, 1 from each. There should be 3 criteria. If you have 3 criteria, you can stamp this patient had maternal near miss. So these are the patients who will be our good teachers. I mean, she will not teach us, but she will teach us with her life. What exactly happened and how we managed her, this will be a teaching for the healthcare professionals. Try to understand. So this is a very grave situation, but if you keep a document of it, we can do better for our remaining mothers. So this is severe maternal morbidity. See, the hemorrhage, hypertension, neurological factors, renal factors, infection, pulmonary, cardiac, ICU admission, surgical complication, anesthetic complication. All this can cause severe maternal morbidity. So these are due to management. She had undergone anesthesia and there she has gone into, she didn't recover properly. Now the classification we have discussed, the direct causes, the impact of this maternal morbidity is temporary causes will be APH, PPH, eclampsia, obstructed labor, rupture, sepsis, ectopic molar. Permanent damage has occurred due to this maternal near miss. There can be vesicovaginal fistula, dyspareunia, complete perineal tear. These are all genital organ diseases that she didn't have before pregnancy. All this occurred after pregnancy, after delivery. You have to understand these terms. As you go with your gynecological chapters, these things will appear. But this has occurred during pregnancy or delivery, and these are important factors, are direct causes, but they are chronic. They are not acute now. Or she may suffer from subfertility, obstetric palsy, and the indirect cause we have already discussed: anemia, malaria, tuberculosis, any infection. Now, what is spontaneous abortion? This is miscarriage. You have not done it, but nature has done it. So it is usually, in our country, it is said to up to 20 weeks. Here it is showing us 22 weeks. So beyond 20 weeks to 27 weeks is early gestation stillbirth. Late gestation is beyond 28 weeks. And see, this is the cutoff for abortion, 20 to 20. In our country, it is 20 and 500 grams. It is World Health Organization keeps it at 28 weeks and 1 kg of birth weight. But it is different for different countries. The more developed the country is, they will be able to rescue the fetus earlier. But on an average, World Health Organization keeps it at 28 weeks, 1 kg, 1000 grams. So, what is perinatal death? What is antepartum? What is intrapartum stillbirth? We are going to discuss this. Now, what is perinatal mortality? It is the perinatal deaths per 1000 total births. Total births, that means live births plus stillbirths. So, it includes those deaths that occur, say, from 28 weeks of gestation, or weighing 1000 grams, or the crown heel length. Crown from the head to heel length is 35 centimeters. So, from 28 weeks to 7 days after life. This is the perinatal period. 28 weeks of gestation, that is during pregnancy, up to 7 days after delivery. This is the perinatal period, and current PNMR is 48. Kerala has achieved almost 15 per 1000 births. This is total births, not live births, unlike maternal mortality, where we have given it as live births. But here it is total births. So it is the perinatal mortality in India for 2025 is projected to be 32 per 1000. So 25 is gone. We are waiting for the data in 26. It is still pending. This represents a reduction from 48 to 32 in the National Family Health Survey 5. So India has seen a reduction of almost 33% from 2005 to 21. So we have improved in our healthcare services. The death has gone down. What is the aim? To reduce the death. All that we are talking about, all that we are trying to do is to reduce the death. Maternal death, perinatal death, neonatal death, stillbirth, everything. All deaths and morbidity to be reduced. So this is the perinatal mortality ratio. This is the number of total deaths, late deaths, fetal deaths after 28 weeks or more, plus the infant deaths within 7 days of birth, by number of, here they have said ratio means live births, but rate is total births. These are all surveys. So PNMR also occurs due to, say, these causes, low socioeconomic status, illiteracy, teenage pregnancy, all those factors that were causing maternal morbidity, mortality also cause perinatal morbidity, mortality. Mother is sick, the baby is also sick. So malnutrition, antenatal care is poor, so they may be premature, perinatal asphyxia, low birth weight and infections. All these factors can contribute to maternal mortality. So this is perinatal asphyxia is the most important part, that is birth asphyxia, prematurity, then complications, sepsis, congenital anomalies and maternal diseases, and these are unexplained deaths. So abortion is defined as pregnancy termination prior to 20 weeks or less than 500. This is the definition we carry in India. 500 grams or 20 weeks. It can be due to, it may be spontaneous or induced. Spontaneous may be by nature, that is threatened, inevitable, incomplete, complete. Threatened means she is bleeding, but she has not gone into abortion totally. That means the baby fetus can survive. The fetus's well-being is threatened, but it may survive. Inevitable, the process of abortion has proceeded to such an extent that reversal is not possible. So it is an inevitable abortion. Complete and incomplete, that is partially expelled fetus, product of conception, or fully expelled, that is complete. And induced, we all know, MTP, that is legal, and illegal is criminal abortion. All this is induced, means man-made. It is legal if the doctor is doing it. We had discussed all the criteria for MTP in the MTP class. I hope you remember. So this is spontaneous and induced. Miscarriage versus stillbirth. Miscarriage is, say, before the period of viability, and stillbirth is after the period of viability. So it is 28 weeks for cutoff for stillbirth and 20 weeks for abortion. See, this, who defines stillbirth for international comparison, born with with no signs of life and birth weight of 1000 grams or gestational age of 28 weeks. Other definitions used in some high income groups, in UK it is 24 plus, USA it is 20 plus. In this series, comparable national estimates use WHO definition where possible data was corrected to 28 weeks rather than using 1000 grams as the threshold. For all practical purposes, if you say stillbirth, we will say 28 weeks and 1000 grams. And if it is miscarriage or termination, take it at 20 weeks. Now, this is the stillbirth rate, number of babies born with no signs of life. That is the same discussion at 28 weeks or more, or per 1000 total births. So, in 2020, it was 3 per 1000. The global estimated was 13.9 per 1000 total births. So, we had fared better. Now, maternal mortality audit. Whenever a mother dies, there should be an audit. What is an audit? It is an analysis to find out why this mother had died, if we can improve upon the condition. So, this is a systematic, in-depth review of maternal deaths to identifying the underlying factors and learn from them to prevent future deaths. It is not the question of blaming each other. You have not seen the patient. That is why the patient has died. Don't blame each other. Try to find out the gaps in the chain of events which has caused the mortality. Suppose the patient had delivered at home delivery, and then there was delay in bringing her to the hospital. There's no point blaming each other. The delay was there. So we have to bridge that gap. Suppose she had come to the hospital, but suppose the doctors were not ready. Suppose the other ancillary staff were not ready. So there were gaps. So from doorstep to doorstep, there has been some gaps which has caused this death. So we have to find out with analysis, and if possible, we have to improve upon the conditions so that such events don't happen. So it is a maternal perinatal death audit, and review is widely recommended as an intervention to reduce maternal and perinatal mortality and to improve quality of care, and could be key to attaining the sustainable development goals. How do we do it? This is done through community-based audit. You go to the place and ask the people there, what exactly happened? You talk to the community. That is verbal and social autopsy, facility-based autopsy. That means come to the hospital where she was brought. Talk to the doctors, the staff, what exactly happened that has caused this death. Or combination, that is a confidential inquiry. It has to be a closed-door confidential inquiry. It should not be publicized like that, but you should know it, and you should improve upon your delivery of healthcare services as far as possible. This is the audit cycle. Identify the deaths, data collection, interviews, analyze the findings, recommend the action, and evaluate and refinement of action. So we have to learn from that. The cycle goes on, the death has occurred, report the date. Then try to find out the cause, try to improve upon it, so that we have less deaths or no deaths in future. So this is how the surveillance is done. They should be identified, assign a cause, determine the lack of care, determine the social, environmental, and nutritional risk factors, the possible modifiable risk factors. It is done in 3 levels: community, facility, district, state-based, and even national level. This is how it is done. Maternal near-miss review, reporting and review of women who survive life-threatening conditions during pregnancy, abortion, and childbirth, or thereafter up to 42 days. Everything up to 42 days. So the whole tenure should be taken into account for maternal morbidity, mortality, and maternal near-miss. The whole period should be taken into the definition. So this is how the maternal and perinatal death surveillance response was done, and this is the cycle that we are talking about. The guidelines are according to this. So what we can do, we have to improve upon the health, nutrition, education, supporting environment, responsive relationship, communication, and personal autonomy and resilience. So this is how we can improve upon. So strategies to reduce maternal morbidity, family planning is important. Planning for pregnancy at optimum age, special care to girl child from childhood, woman empowerment through education, healthcare, adequate diet, nutrition, rest, and logistic facilities in pregnancy, mandatory male involvement. It is not a woman's job only. It is the society's total responsibility. It is not a woman's world that only the woman will understand and no one else is bothered. This is not. The total society should be included in the purview. So health service levels, it should be from ground level to the highest level, decentralization of service, delivery by trained birth attendant, referral system should be there, emergency service, prevention of unwanted pregnancy. Sometimes pregnancy is there, say unmarried person, and they try to abort with illegal means. So give them the safe options. MTP is legalized in our country, so why not give them the options so that you don't land up in this crisis. safe abortion services, regular health education. So communication, education, this is the only way you can reach. And you have to also do what you are saying. No point giving lectures and you don't do at ground level. It has to be present at all levels. Community level, then policymakers will make the difference. So all should be taken into account. Professional body are we. So we become a pivotal part, but we don't have always control over it. If the healthcare facility is not working, it is not the question of only the doctor. Everyone is involved. So we should work at tandem with cooperation with each other. Global strategies are these. Look up these. These are the organizations who have done it. The national strategies are the family planning program, the child survival and safe motherhood, reproductive and child health program. All these programs had been undertaken to reduce maternal morbidity and mortality. So this chart is very important. Go through it. You might be given long questions on this. Social obstetrics question is mandatory almost. One question is there. This we had discussed. Millennium Development Goals of 2000 was safe motherhood. This was the priority. So family planning, skill, birth attendant, emergency obstetric care. These all can come as short notes. Basic emergency obstetric care, then comprehensive emergency care. These are the Millennium Development Goals. So the target is, the United Nations target is the SDG for MMR, maternal mortality. MMR should be 70 per lakh live births. We have not been able to reach that as yet. It is around 93 around now. So this is the target by 2030. This is the target. Targets are reduce maternal mortality by 70%, achieving universal access to reproductive health. So these are the SDGs. The target is to reduce maternal mortality to 70 per lakh live births by 2030. This you must remember. Neonatal mortality should be reduced to less than 12, under 5 mortality to less than 25. These are the targets. This is how the different states of India have recorded their MMR and neonatal mortality rate. This is how the MMR has reduced. This is per lakh live births, because we have reduced from 130 to 93 in 2021. This is the rate going down. See, it was 500 some per lakh. Now it is by 2011 it had gone down to 246. It has a downward trend, but it has to go down further. It should be less than 70 per lakh live births. That is the goal for 2030. Now it is 2026. So we have 4 years to make up that. It is 93 around now per lakh live births. Institutional delivery should increase. It has gone up from 79 to 89. The NMR has gone down from 26 to 19, but it has to come down to less than 12. Infant mortality has gone down from 39 to 28, from 14 to 20. Under 5, it has gone down to 31. The requisite is 25 by 2030. So SDG target has been met by certain states, not all. India's progress has been there by government initiatives, regional variations. So India's maternal mortality ratio drops significantly from 130 to 97 per lakh live births. NMR drops, infant mortality drops. So it has dropped below the global level. So India has progressed a lot, but because of its huge population, we feel that it is not up to the mark, but we are struggling because of this huge variation also. Not all corners of our country have access to everything. So these are the parameters, and India is witnessing a steady downward trend in both maternal and child mortality. So this you have to remember, from 130 it has gone down to, maternal mortality ratio has gone down to 93, it has to go down a bit more. NMR and maternal mortality ratio, you have to remember, it has the target is to neonatal mortality should be reduced to less than 12 per 1000 live births, but the maternal mortality is per lakh. Don't confuse these two denominators. So, World Health Day we have, so together we all can improve upon all our indices, all our statistics can be improved if we work together. That is the message. So for exams, you have to know the definitions, the causes of maternal morbidity, mortality, and what are the programs that are currently undergoing. These you prepare for your theory papers. This is more important for your theory exams. Practicals, sometimes they give as auspice, or some calculations can be given, or definitions may be asked. This chapter is very important.